Boom, what up, y'all? Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Again, it is Mental Health Wednesday, and we're going to have a great conversation today. Great conversation. One that is definitely needed for us in our community. Of course, we should be joined by our very own Mad Genius. Who will be in the building. So what I need you to do is share. Sharing is caring. Sharing is caring. Uh, we appreciate you guys for being here. Thank you for rocking with us every single morning, Monday through Friday. Um, so, um, so make sure you are connecting with us, staying connected with us. Text LWN to 84576. Text LWN to 84576. Blessings, Lisa. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing. So interesting facts today. Before we get this conversation started, did you know? And I just found this out. When you go to websites and you're filling out information or doing your password, and you click on the "I am not a robot" box. I am not a robot box. Do you know, like, you ever click it sometimes and it automatically says, boom, you're not a robot? Like, it doesn't make you do the capture. I'm probably saying that right. Captures, with the writing, the numbers, not numbers, but the letters or pictures. Like, you ever struggle with that? Find the crosswalk, and you're like, I think that's a crosswalk. I think that's. Hey, good morning, sweetie. What I didn't know is when you click on the "I am not a robot," it does a quick search of your browsing history and your cookies on your computer to see if you're really a robot. Did you know that? Because I just found that out. It's kind of interesting. So it does it. I don't think it stores it. Maybe not. But it does do a quick search to see your browsing history, that you're doing things that humans do. What's up, Jeff? Good morning. Good morning. Because if you don't know, those things are there because, people program computers to run through passwords, quickly, and they can do it, fast. But the box basically slows them down because they may be able to click the box, but a lot of times they can't click the pictures or the letters and see these things. Just a little history there. Just a little history. A little, not history, but information. Also, last thing before we kick it off, did you know that it's National Deviled Egg Day? National Deviled Egg Day. So, Sam, you know what time it is. Let's go. So, appreciate you guys for being here. Make sure you are sharing. Make sure you are connected with other people. Tag somebody. It's going to be a great conversation. Have my brother like no other, Mr. Matt or Rap Genius in the building. And you're right. He said, "Oh shoot, somebody called people." Right. So also we got Yella Breezy, aka Kaneem Curvey in the building. You're right. Jeff was a wow indeed. Yellow Breezy. I don't know who that is. But we're gonna go ahead and kick it off. The countdown, how we do. Make sure you stay. This is gonna be a good conversation. It's relevant and it's something we need. We're talking about dealing with the anger in our community. All right, we'll be right back.
stand up.
Gentlemen, what is the word, my brothers?
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Yes, indeed. As well. There we go. There we go. Up a little bit. All right. Somebody got some stuff going on in the background. I think that was Kaneem. All right. So I appreciate you guys for being here, rocking with us. Another edition of the Brothers of Legacy. We don't stand up, we stand up. So today we're talking about dealing with the anger in our community. This conversation basically is coming off the heels of the unfortunate incident with Takeoff from the Amigos. And I begin to think about what are some of the root causes for a lot of our issues in our community. And I realize a lot of it stems from anger and the ability to process when things go wrong or things don't go your way. And to deal with, of course, we're going to dig into the ego of it. And when our ego is challenged, or as a man, when we feel like let me throw the quotes up, our manhood is challenged. You know, how do you respond in a way? And it's kind of funny to say a healthy way, but a more less detrimental way, a way that you may still be able to at least get out what you're feeling without taking somebody's life. And so I kind of wanted to dig into that. I got, of course, Mr. Matt Genius, aka Rap Genius, in the building.
I'm here for it.
So let's see. We good? Okay. So when it comes to
Am
anger,
I being censored over here?
Huh?
Am I being censored?
No, I got you.
Oh, I see that. I was telling Matt to tell him how you feel, and he didn't hear me.
No. I probably had my volume on mute.
No. I muted you for a second because you had some background noise.
Oh, okay. I just see this mute. I said, look, I'm being censored over here.
No, see, this is. I make my censor blatant. I do this. This is what I do. I do that. I need you to know when you're being censored. Oh yeah, you're gonna know and feel it.
I don't like being demoed like that.
For me, it's the elevator music in the beginning. I mute my speakers so I won't have to hear the elevator music.
You know what, man? You don't keep talking about my music. I'm changing it, brother. Give me a second.
I'm like, here we go.
This is the morning show. We got to be excited. Right. Got to work our way up.
Oh yeah. You say tell them how I feel, man. Listen, man. I actually, it's a lot, man. It's a lot. So that rap culture has to be a part of the conversation today too, right? Because that's a part of what gets us here over and over and over again. Mm-hmm. So you definitely have to talk about that.
Definitely. So again,
oh, you all right, bro?
I dropped them. It's all good. Not the phone, though. It's all that matters.
Okay.
Had to decide how much work I was going to do to save it. I just, you know what? I'm just going to watch it fall.
I understood. Sometimes you gotta let it go.
Gotta let it go.
That's what my brother said. LIG
it. So he said, drop the cat. So when you're dealing with anger, right? How it's and it's over a game. It's over, talking junk. And we've all been in that space, talking junk, and the game is going on. And I'm gonna keep it real. And my wife probably just gonna call me out because sometimes, listen, I don't like losing. I get sore. I get really, really sore. Like I've gotten upset at times.
Hey, you know me, I'm competitive.
Right.
First time we ever had a little competitive gamemanship. Yes. I was talking about kicking somebody. You know what I'm saying? Hey, they knew me for like 5 seconds.
Wow. Right? It's just a game, fellas. It's just a game. Listen, I can say that because I don't lose a lot, so that's why I can say it's just a game, right? And then
there
for
you go,
me,
bro.
I'm being real honest. I don't
I'm
lose a
used to
lot.
being hard,
I
man.
don't lose a lot. And then the other part about it is that, man, my trash talk is on 1,000 when we're playing games. You know, we playing games. Oh man, I would trash talk you down. You know, so
Ask AD, they know about me.
yeah, man. Don't let us play a friendly game of Monopoly, right? Don't let us play.
Oh man, I'm really showing my natural behind when it's going. Oh my God. Sam know about my trash talking. Ask Sam.
Right.
Ask AD White how much trash talking I do.
Exactly. So, you know, I can't say, you know, emotions don't come in, but I also think there's a level of understanding that we have to have. You know, everybody trying to get home at the end of the night, you know, so we got to learn how to, you know, have cooler heads in certain circumstances.
Right. So how do you get into a space where you know, everything's about how you go into it, right? Your mindset, your willingness, because you want to win, you want to get on top. But how do you process the anger when you lose? You know, how do you and I know this is like may seem trivial in a sense where, you know, we grown men, we all, like I said, we play games. Like for me, like Kaneem's super competitive, right? So he trash talk, you know, he did kind of, you know, once he gets, you know, it's not in his favor, he get a little quiet, but he a trash talker. Like for me, historically, like how I had to process, I had to stop getting mad because, you know, and with my wife who's competitive, you know, what happens when we get mad, Kaneem? You just talk more trash. Oh, you mad now? Oh, I'm gonna take you to the next level. I get mad.
You also got to be able to read the person who you trash talking to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you see emotions that's boiling over, then you know, then I call the emotions out. You know what I'm saying? I don't just be in my own world feeling good and gleeful because I'm winning. You know what I'm saying? If I see you, I say, man, you ain't got to be emotional about this, man. This is not how your life's going to end tonight on this game. It's going to be a better day. You know what I'm saying? Just wait till tomorrow. When you wake up in the morning, you'll feel better, but you're going to take this whooping tonight. It's all good.
I got you. So you're the kind, let me get a pass in on this because, you know, another competitive person. Good morning. Back. Are you a dial it back, like you can see the emotions, or you take one more dig and then you cool out? Like, oh, it looked like you getting upset. Look like you getting angry.
Nah, man. So I usually press the gas, you know. I press the gas. Seriously, man. Like I have people leave my house in tears, you know, sometimes. But it's all, you know, it's all fun and games. But then the other part of that is when somebody gets hurt. You know what, you have to be selective of who you're playing with. You know, that word community isn't something to be taken lightly. You know, so if you're sharing a space with a person and you're not sure if their emotional stability, that's strike one already.
Yeah.
You know, so
there you go.
You got to have some type of home court advantage and knowing who you're playing with. You know, I can't just play with anybody or invite anybody to my house or go to anybody's house and start playing. I have to have some context of what games I'm playing, because some people take these games for life, and that's not the type of game I want to play. I want to play a game where I can laugh, you can laugh, we all can have, you know, fun, and then after it's done, we're still cool, instead of, you know, somebody taking losing personally. It's nothing personal. So I think we have to talk about how we deal with failure, you know, how we deal with failure, and failure may feel like rejection. So, you know, you're talking about deeper issues. And then, like I said, it all goes back to that word community again. If it's community, then sometimes, well, most of the time we shouldn't have to worry about it, because the word community covers a lot of things that allow us to share without getting too deep into our emotions and projecting onto each other based on that word community. And so, you know, that word can't be used too lightly, you know, at least in the context of what occurred to the young man, you know, a day or two ago. I don't know if that was community, really, you know.
No. Because it's an art form to trash talking. You know what I'm saying? It's like camaraderie, you know, who can up the other one. If you're going to give somebody that's trash talking, because if you just trash talking somebody that's not giving it back to you, you kind of just bullying them down. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it got to be like a tennis match, back and forth, back and forth. You know what I'm saying? So at least that's how I like to have the trash talkers. I've been in trash talking where this one dude, he was just like, "You gonna stop talking to me like that? You gonna, you gonna stop talking?" And what was so funny about it, we was at work. You know what I'm saying? and we playing cards and whatnot. And you gonna stop talking? And then he hit the table with both hands. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gonna stop talking to me like that? So I just leaned back in the chair, like, so what you gonna do, man? You gonna go upstairs and tell the man what you gonna do? He's like, you just gonna, and then when because I was calling him out his name.
Okay.
But you know, we young. I thought it was, we all doing it. Well, he wasn't.
Right.
But the other three guys, other two guys at the table was.
Right.
So I was calling him. I was saying the B word.
I got you.
But I wasn't calling him the B word. You feel what I'm saying?
Okay.
I was just saying
personal. Took it personal.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So he had, like, I'm saying your name and you a B. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah, but I wasn't doing that. But he just kept on taking it personal. I say, well, what you gonna do, man? I mean, you didn't throw all your cards on the table. Now you got to do something. You gonna either come across this table or you gonna go upstairs and tell the man which one you want. Them your only two options. Which one you want? And so he ended up walking out and cooling his head. All his buddies was, and now mind you, I'm the only person of color at the table.
Wow.
Well, there you go.
Whoop, there it is.
I
got you.
You shouldn't judge a book by its cover. Book by its cover.
You shouldn't judge a book by its color.
I meant the first word that I said. I tried to straighten up on the second one.
Tell them how you really feel. Tell them how you feel.
But I was like, when I saw that he had a Transformer tattoo on his leg, I was like, yeah, you're a little different. Transformer, like Optimus Prime? Really? That's what we doing? You got an Optimus Prime tattoo?
Robots in disguise.
Yeah, but anyway, that was my little story about.
They're Transformers. We come from Wonder Twin powers activate.
I thought he was about to, when he put them hands on the table. I said, "Oh, he's about to go down."
He just about to go down.
What you gonna do? It's two choices. Let's get to it. We'll make one of them.
Right.
Anyway, I ain't mean to hijack the story.
Nah, you're good. You're good. It's always story time, brother. I love it. Sam says, I think anger is a problem, but so is lack of self-control, disregard for life, jealousy, and ruthlessness. Yeah, definitely plays a huge part. He said, Kaneem tossing gas on it now. He said, he go into the can and put his Optimus Prime hat on.
Hey, that might have been what he did, but he ain't come back in that dog shack.
So in situations like that, well, I won't even say who's at fault, right? Because Kadeem just, what you gonna do? But are we at fault for opening up the door for it to get worse?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, do we have to kind of be mindful of those moments?
That's on us. That's on us. It's always on us. It's always on us if you're part of that equation.
Right.
And you can't keep that cool head or learn how to create emotional intelligence and awareness. When you hear emotional IQ, you think of your own, but a part of creating a high level emotional IQ is being able to understand where other people are, is what reading the room, basically.
Right.
You got to read that room. You know where you are. You know what you're capable of. Beep, boop, beep, boop. There's only a couple buttons they got to press, and you're there. But to really increase your emotional understanding and awareness, you have to be able to see and understand where other people are as well. And then kind of bring the whole formula down based on what you bring to the equation.
Right.
You know, so sometimes it's us. Sometimes it's us that, you know, may just need to be like, you know what, this is going too far, man. It's just a game. I'm out. You know?
Right.
Go ahead, keep that, man. You won. You know,
Right. Right.
You won. You know, but then you think about context again, money. You know, when money's involved, ego is definitely inflated. You know, and that's a different ballpark. Anybody used to roll dice? I don't want to put anybody out there. Anybody? Okay.
Never.
You know, same, man. I used to roll dice too, man. So.
Well, like I was telling AD about my buddy Bootyhead. They got ran off, and man, like he was winning, but he owed his dude money, so he winning against the dude he owed money to.
Right.
So the dude he owed money to was like, "Hold on, you owe me anyway," and snatched the money.
Yeah, see, that's
and Bootyhead thought he was gonna like try to buck up to the dude that he owed money to. And old buddy pulled a pistol on him and then ran Bootyhead across the street. So
you say Bootyhead?
Bootyhead.
Somebody's
I was trying to let him glaze over it. Bootyhead. Let everybody sit that.
Yeah, you know how you got them little creases in your head sometimes when you.
Scottie Pippen head.
Yeah, so I mean, he grew up. That was his nickname.
That's his nickname, man. Shout out to Bootyhead, man. Wherever he is. That's his name.
Everybody has somebody in the neighborhood that has a crazy nickname.
Does anyone remember when Scottie Pippen shaved his head trying to be like Mike?
I don't remember that at all.
The top of his head looked like a wrinkled up blanket.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was he had that hair grew back so fast it wasn't even funny. He got talked about so bad.
I do understand like when money's involved. Like I'm not like that's why I can't really. I know I can't. I'm never comfortable. I don't even want to lose $1. Like I'm just, you know, when money's on the table, like I know my emotional intelligence. Yeah, right. I know emotionally. I already get mad over regular games, and then now we got money on the table. Yeah, after I lose about $2, I'm done. I'm done. Like I'm out.
You got to go into it with the mindset that you got a certain amount to lose. Because I play poker all the time. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm going in there, I'll sit down and say, okay, I ain't gonna lose no more than $200 a night.
Right.
You know, if I lose $200, that's it.
That's it. I'm done. I'm out.
You know, I plan on winning a lot more than I'm losing.
Right.
But it might not be my night.
It might not be your night. And then there, you know, there's a level of like defensiveness that comes in rolling dice too. You know, that's a different ball game. It's not like spades. It's different. The energy is different. You know.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of other elements. There's a lot of other elements when you roll the dice.
It's active because especially when you're playing in a group, everybody betting on your point. You might be betting on your point. You know what I'm saying? You might double down on fours and tens. It just depends on, you know what I'm saying? Especially if it's a large group.
And then you try to get in your opponent's head. You know, you try to get in your opponent's head too. So it's all mind games too, man. But I think the money element and then the street element as well, you know, like being disrespected for most men. I can't say for all men. For most men, it's when the disrespect comes, is when the tone of voice changes. You know, you can tell when, you know, somebody is blatantly disrespecting you, and then that's when you have to defend yourself, you know, because you don't want to look a specific way, or you don't want to be that person that gets called out, and that's the memory of, you know, now your card is being pulled publicly. What you're gonna do about it? Right. And of course, you got to step up to, you know, the plate. But I think even before then, we got to talk about how people get into the mind state of easily being in a state where violence can be the remedy. Why do violence come up instead of, you know, compassion and kindness? You know, so can we talk about what causes us to, even when we are angry, and, you know, anger is a part of our day to day. We experience that, and there's nothing wrong with it. But what gets us to the point to where our anger has to be acted out in violence? You know, let's talk about that for a little bit.
All right, let's go there. Definitely.
I think it's our nature, man. Most men are warriors. At least let me tell it. You know what I'm saying? When you say competitive, you competitive. Well, I'm competitive by nature, So I'm always trying to be on top. I'm and whatever it is, if I'm sparring or speaking or playing or wrestling or fighting or
Right.
I'm trying to win. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's just part of it.
Yeah, winning doesn't necessarily equate to violence, though. Like, there's a lot of people who love to win, but where does the violence come in? You know, Michael Jordan wasn't fighting everybody on the court. You know, he loved to win. Kobe loved to win too.
Right.
There's a lot of people who love to win. You're right. It's not. But I'm saying, like, how do we get to the space to where violence is the solution? You know, because you can fight and still lose.
Right. Right.
You know,
but that means I want to fight more.
There you go. Like, you have to get to the space where you have to understand why violence, why those tendencies are predominant in some of our communities. You know,
I think it's a natural reaction, but not fighting is a conscious choice. You feel what I'm saying? At least in my opinion.
So now you're onto something. You know, consciousness comes in the awareness that we have of ourselves, of what's going on in here. So you say it's a conscious choice. So how many of us are conscious of our decision making?
Right.
Or are we just deciding based on a sub-level consciousness? Are we fully conscious when these decisions are being made?
Right.
Are you in the driver? Are you in the driver's seat? Basically, the you that is the dominant you. Do you feel that you are in the driver's seat when some of these decisions are being made? Or are you hijacked by a different personality that is lower, that takes the driver's seat, and that person's like, no, you know, that person comes up and be like, you know, like this is a different me now. You done dialed up the right one.
Right.
And so, you know, so you have to see that the consciousness, and I like that you said that, is something to where we are in control. You know, we have a control and the understanding that your mind state may not be at the healthiest. And so therefore, if my consciousness is not where it needs to be, then maybe I should not be making these decisions, because that's not where I'm going to problem solve. You're not going to problem solve with a lack of consciousness. You know, you're going to create more chaos in that state.
Right. Jeff says, man, go ahead.
I was going to say, Paul talks about that, the Apostle Paul in the book of 1 Corinthians. He talks about seeing through a glass darkly, right? In other words, our vision is obscured. It can be tainted, which messes with our sense of reality. So you might be seeing through an experience, seeing through a previous encounter, and it obscures your vision. It causes you to react differently. Whereas if you had dismissed that previous encounter, your vision wouldn't be tainted. And that's why you can do things. See, a lot of times we look at that as a multiple personalities, but I just look at it as a disorder. You haven't gotten over previous pains or hurts, or, you know, and you have these triggers, these events that happen that take you back to a space and cause you to see through the lens of yesterday. And I say this to people: are you still talking to me, or are you talking to the last person you were mad at?
Right.
You know what I mean? Because the Bible tells us that one day we will see clearly, but today you see darkly, because you see through the obscure lens of your own personal experience. And for people that come up in a violent culture, violent environment, you live through that unless you can dismiss it, unless you can get released from that type of mentality. Is that fair to say?
I think so. I think based on what you've grown up in, because a lot of it's, you know, your past and how you've adjusted back then, you know, and how you deal with certain conversations, you know, like when you're playing the games, where these things usually get off into, you know, like every game of dice always turns into a fight. Like, oh, this is just natural.
No, this is what we do.
It's what we do, you know.
And you become desensitized to it.
Right.
You know, and then like there's a trigger word, you know, everything's good till you say something about my mama.
Right.
You know, in our hood, we don't talk about mamas.
Right.
Right. So it takes you back to a standard that has been set, and someone new to the game. I think you said it earlier, Matt. Know your audience. You may not know that over here,
Right.
we crack, we joan,
Right.
we have our sessions,
Right.
but we don't touch family.
Right. There's a level.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you don't find out till after.
He said, yeah.
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 That's seeing darkly.
Yeah,
Definitely.
you know, and I also can hear in that context, like in the context of someone seeing outside of what they would normally see, you have to ask what is going on internally.
Right.
And for me, the main answer is stress. You know, stress really reveals a lot of things that sometimes we hide very well, you know, and in our consciousness, you know, sometimes our consciousness are designed to suppress. But when those buttons are dialed up, everything's coming to the surface, you know.
Yeah.
I'm going to let you know exactly how I felt, you know, no filter, you know, no filter. And then what happens is that we push each other up against a wall. And once you push once you push somebody against a wall, then they have, for them, no choice but to come out fighting, you know, or they have to get away, fight or flight. Those are the options: fight, flight, or freeze. And then, you know, I'm not fleeing, I'm not running, because I ain't never scared. Remember that part?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so since I ain't never scared, you know, and I'm not freezing, you're not gonna pump me. So therefore, sometimes we have to come out swinging, you know.
Right.
And I think there's a greater conversation that we need to have about the stress that we're under to make a decision to hurt somebody else.
Right.
You know, that's the bigger story for me. Again, like I get angry, you know, but I try not to lose my consciousness that won't put me in a state to see somebody else as less valuable.
Right.
You know, even as a child, man, I grew up in a violent community, but even as a child, when I was fighting, I can remember like asking this question. I don't know if we're going to, you know, be like, you fighting somebody, you have them, you be like, you gonna stop, you know, you're gonna stop this, right? Stop it, right? You're asking, right? Because you don't want to continue. Like, I don't want to keep fighting. Are you gonna stop? You know, it's a level of mercy almost. Like, this is not internally. I don't want to keep hurting you, basically. So you're asking, are you going to stop? As a child, I remember that was the question. You gonna stop? But now it's just like, nah, I'm gonna make you stop until you can't function at all. You know, I have to put you in the ground because anything.
Ask any older brother.
Right.
Yeah. Tell them a lot. Like, I'm tired. I need you to stop.
You're gonna stop. You know. But basically, it's a question to still try to create some balance. Like, this is not what we should be doing. You know, we should be in another type of exchange. And so, but we don't have those times where we're asking people, hey man, just relax. Sometimes we just feel like this is what I have to do in order to preserve my name, my honor, you know, my reputation.
Right.
Which is all convoluted and attached to a reality that's not true. You know, my street credibility and stuff like that. Yeah. It's not real.
Yeah.
You can't put it on a resume. And even if you could.
Right. Let's see. Thomas Cotton says, anger builds up without an outlet, then explodes in different ways, depending on the circumstances in the person's life. Definitely. I think we all need that outlet. You know, when you come into situations already hot, you know, we've all had moments when we go to work when we're upset. It's like, oh man, nobody better start with me today because I am not in the mood.
9 o'clock in the morning and you're on 10.
I'm already on 10 and I'm just clocking in. I wish you would today. I wish
you clock in angry. Oh man.
Yeah, them days. No, I've had maybe one or two of them days in my working career, but it ain't nothing but a headache because usually you self-sabotage yourself.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? It's like you go in there with that anger on you, and next thing you know, you done something stupid, and you be like, "Why I do that?"
Made my day worse.
Yeah, man. That's how when I tell you about when I quit my job at Hormel, and I went in there and I was like, "F all y'all can go get it." I had Cam County out there trying to escort me out of the premises. So I know how it go when your anger get the best of you.
Right.
Wow.
Right. So it's
But
dealing
then
from
who you really mad at?
again. Go ahead.
I'm mad at myself because I quit the job. I should have just, you know what I'm saying, stated my case and went back to my area and kept my paycheck flowing. But my anger was like, y'all disrespecting my whole being. And
Your pride, you mean?
I want y'all to know, I want all y'all to know, and those who in earshot to know that y'all ain't gonna do me like this and end up doing myself like that. That's when I told you about I had to get my house up, I had to get my car up, I had to do all that because I walked out of that job.
You walked out.
All that because I walked out on that job.
Right. He said making a proclamation to 600 people in the company. I just want y'all to know.
Everybody, all y'all know. You're going to remember me 10, 15 years now. Y'all remember when that fool walked out?
What's his name? You that fool now. What's his name?
Yeah, that fool. That was that fool.
They probably got your picture up somewhere.
Right.
Matter of fact, I seen one of my coworkers probably about 3-4 months ago. He recognized me, so you know I made a scene.
Yeah, they still got that poster up. They still got that poster right here.
Hey, we was at Cracker Barrel, and he was sitting right across from me. He's like, "Man, don't I know you?
You're the legend. You're the legend."
Right. And what was so crazy about it? He showed me some pictures. Cause we used to go out. Me and some of the coworkers in my department went out.
Wow.
And he showed me a picture. I probably was like 20, 25, 26, something like that. And he showed me some pictures of me. I still had my gold teeth. I'm shining. I'm like, I'm showing all my little gold teeth. I was like, man, that's so long ago. I was like, man, how y'all doing? A few of the folks had passed away and all that. I was like, wow. It's been that long? Like, he been retired for like 15 years.
Wow.
So I was like, man, this is almost 25 years ago.
Wow.
I was like, golly, you still remember that? Yeah, man. You showed out that
legend. You're a legend, bro.
Long time ago.
Mm-hmm. Oh, but yeah, so it's those moments, containing that anger. How do you process it? How do you let it go? You know, when your day when you've been angered, you know, how do you not take it to your next situation?
Take the day off.
All right.
Take the day off. Don't go to work. Don't even do it. You know, don't even do it. Sometimes we just have to, you know, catch the L on our end and instead of spreading it. It's a domino effect, you know.
You're saying if you just can't contain yourself.
Yeah. Take the day off. Go for it.
Yeah.
You can't do it. If you can't reel it in, get out of there because you're only going to make matters worse, you know.
Yeah.
You know,
some folks don't know that they can't reel it in though. Some folks don't understand that taking that day off is not even an option.
You know, I used to have anger management classes, you know, and when people come in, one of the first things I tell them is that don't be mad at your anger. Your anger is not the bad person, you know. Your anger isn't evil. Your anger is usually justified in your mind. The problem with your anger is that most people don't understand it. Because when you're angry, you're not communicating in an understandable way. And so that makes you more angry when you're not understood.
Right.
So if you go to settings where you're angry and nobody understands the context of your anger, you're gonna get more angry.
Yes.
So sometimes you just gotta walk away. Don't put yourself in a situation where you may be misunderstood or have to justify your anger. That makes it even worse. Now I gotta explain to you all, you know, and then somebody might be like, yeah, I don't get it. I don't see it. And then you don't even get it, you see, and then further fuel the fire, you know.
Right.
You know, and I think we also have to mention, you know, where when it crosses, you know, when the anger starts to action, you know, and that comes from a lot of what we take in. Yeah, I don't take in a lot of violent media anymore, you know, because I know it's in me. It's in all of us. All of us have those tendencies that are deep seated inside of us, but it's not a natural thing to go there regularly. We've normalized it. We've normalized it and said it's a part of our community, it's a part of our culture. but it's not. It's not. These are learned behaviors that we've normalized and kind of, gave a pass because anger is one of the emotions that we are comfortable with.
Right.
We're comfortable because we're used to seeing it. And so when we see it, we're just like, oh, that's just this person, or that's just that, And so anger isn't necessarily a great motive for change anymore. Anger is supposed to be used, or it could be used in a positive way to create change. It's supposed to let you know that there's a boundary that needs to be drawn right here.
Right.
But instead of the boundary being drawn, we dare people to cross rather than actually, trying to help people understand why this should not be crossed. I wish, you know the rest. You know the rest. So we almost inviting because the anger is so misunderstood that it feels like we have to prove. We have to justify. Like people need to know that I'm angry in order for me to feel my anger as validated.
Right.
I don't like being sensitive like that, AD.
I hear echo, man. If I mute you, I'm hearing an echo.
Let me turn my volume down.
Yes, please, sir.
Am I echoing now, bro?
You're making me angry.
Oh my goodness.
All right. So Jeff had a question, Pastor. How do you handle anger? How do you handle anger? I have a particular set of skills.
No, honestly, what I have learned, because I'll never forget 25 years ago, early in my marriage, my wife would ask me, "Why are you so angry?" And I remember, I was a single parent and I dealt with a lot of dynamics. I had to let go of a lot of things. I had to exercise areas of my mind that had not been trained in those places, in those spaces. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't realize I had this buildup of stuff, and what should have been, a glorious and exciting time, I felt stress and strain because I had added responsibility. Mm. And I was quick tempered, and so what I've learned is today's anger could be imprisonment 5 years from now. So I went to what I learned. One of my greatest lessons came out of the book of Peter. I think it's First Peter chapter, or Second Peter chapter 1, or either First Peter chapter 3. I forgot what it is. But he talks about adding to your faith. Right. And then further, I got it. I was pulling my Bible out to look up some scriptures, y'all. So that's one I'm going to look up. And I'll tell you it's funny. Somebody asked that question and I was just dealing with that. Second Peter chapter 1 and verse 9 talks about, let me back up a second. It opens up chapter 1 and Second Peter opens up with talking about all the things that God has provided for us. Grace and peace be multiplied unto you through the knowledge of God and Jesus Christ our Lord. So he's given us all these things, but then after he gives us all of these blessings, he expects us to build on it. He says, now that you've got all these things, add to your faith, virtue, and to virtue knowledge, and to knowledge temperance. All these things, these qualities that you're supposed to build and add to what God has already given you. But if you look at verse 9 of Second Peter chapter 1, he says, he that lacketh these things is blind. And so I had to deal with that blindness. What happens when you don't add these things? Well, when you don't add these things, your vision becomes obstructed. And to heal myself and to get delivered from the consequences of my anger, I had to begin counting up the cost. What is the impact? What is this? What's today's anger or my activities in my anger? What is it going to cost me later? So find out, count up the cost for the damage, the impact of the damage. A lot of people get angry, they go to prison, and they get 10 years to realize they shouldn't have snapped the way that they did. You got 10 years to think about it. What I say is take 10 minutes to think about it so that you don't lose 10 years.
Right.
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 So I've learned to consider the outcome of my actions during my anger. That's
Right.
what I've learned to be angry, because the Bible doesn't say not to be angry.
Right.
It says be careful what you do in your anger.
Right.
Be angry and sin not, because anger tends to sin. And that's in Psalms 37.
Right.
It leads to it. And so those are some of the things that I had to learn to overcome what I do in the midst of my anger.
Right.
Count up the cost, man.
Definitely. Definitely.
That's powerful. I think, you know, what you did, you highlighted a couple things about the training of your brain, you know, and some of those spaces where you did not have the discipline. So that takes a work, that takes an awareness to actually start that work. You know, I think what Brother Cotton said is like, there are so many different influences that are out there, drugs, alcohol, ego, you know, that kind of, you know, really pushes the anger over the top, you know. And so there are a lot of formulas. There was plenty of shootings, but there was one context of a shooting of a young man who killed another young man in South Florida. And I just happened to know one of the mentors that was working with this young man. Wow. And I asked him, I'm like, you know, tell me about this young man's life. And he was telling me about the young man's life. And after he told me just a couple of things, I'm like, that makes sense, you know, because what I did was listen to his life and then correlate it to what I've learned to know about where violence comes from.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So he had the young man, you could check off a lot of ACEs, meaning adverse childhood experiences, meaning traumatic experiences in childhood. You could check the boxes off of those, you know. He had, you know, parents who weren't together, domestic violence, substance abuse, all these different things that were, you know, a part of his young life were the, you know, some of the things that kind of made it easier to conclude that violence is the way to go instead of compassion, you know. And so we know there is a formula that produces more violence. And if we don't know, then we need to learn about what this formula is that's continuously creating violence in these communities, and then learn that there's another formula out there,
right,
you know, that we can adopt as a community that will change our trajectory to create more compassion, kindness, you know, connectivity, resilience, you know. And so violence doesn't have to be the option. But I think when we see, remember when we did the presentation, AD, we focus on the behavior and we forget about what's going on in here and in here, you know. A lot of the times that's what we see. So you would hear the violent act and be like, that person's just so wrong. No, you have to see behind the curtain what's been going on in that person's life for a very long time that allowed them to show up in that moment as this type of individual that does not value life.
Definitely.
You know?
So what would you say?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to ask, you know, like you mentioned the formula, what causes the violence, you know, causes the anger. What would you say? Because I know you're getting the conversation. I was trying to get to it. You talked about the music, or you talked about hip hop or rap, you know, like
there's that. There's traumatic history, you know, meaning trauma in your past, in your childhood. Trauma could be verbal, physical, emotional, neglect, you know, separation from parent, domestic violence, substance abuse, a parent going to jail early, you know, a bunch of those things. Environmental stress. Of course, there are things that happen in our environment that we have no control over. You know, people go to sleep to sirens and gunshots, you know, and we've normalized that as well. Domestic violence happening next door. Substance abuse, access to firearms, toxins, poor physical health, you know, poor physical health. Anybody that's not doing well physically, it's like you're pushing a animal that's injured. If an animal is injured and you're messing with it, good luck, because it's going to come out swinging, because it's already in a vulnerable position to be more vulnerable, meaning to get more stress, and you know, and it's going to relate to that person or that, you know, the animal fighting back. Violent media is not just the music we listen to. You know, that's a small percentage of it. You turn on the cartoons, you know, go back and watch some of the cartoons we watch. It was violence from the jump to the end.
Tom and Jerry were always fighting.
Man, the WB, I didn't know what a bazooka was until I started watching the WB. A rocket launcher. Where would I learn what a rocket launcher is? But these cartoons are, killing each other, and
Right.
they're coming back to life
They
over
come
and
back.
over and over. You know,
Right.
we're watching these, and we don't see it as violent media because it's ha ha ha, it make us laugh, you know.
Right.
But that's violence, you know, and violent move. All of these have a tendency to create a normalcy in your brain so that you will see life as less valuable. You see your life as less valuable, and then therefore you will act on another life as less valuable because of all of these symptoms that will produce violence and aggression.
Right.
You know, but the formula on the other side is a healthy family, healthy peer group, mindfulness, emotional IQ, exercising, good nutrition, you know,
Right.
educational media, you know, self and professional help. There's a bunch of things that we can do to create kindness, compassion, and resilience in our community. I think sometimes the investment is usually retroactive, like not proactive, but retroactive. We wait and respond. You know, we respond instead of creating preventative measures. Now that something's happened in our community, then okay, now what can we do?
Right.
You know, now,
right. I mean, we are very reactive.
Right,
Very
reactive, very reactive, and I think that slows down a lot of what we can do to really help, you know, a generation of people that are suffering right now.
Right.
These conversations have to be, you know, in the after school program, at the community church centers, you know, at the YMCA down the street, you know, during the house meeting for Neighborhood Watch. We have to have these conversations on what's ailing our communities. And if we're not having these conversations, then all we're doing is perpetuating it because it's normalized, you know. Oh, that's just Ray and them. That's just
Right.
this person, you know, that's just
Right.
how it is. This is what our neighborhood is used to. I'm like, how can we keep saying that?
Right.
We're losing people before they turn 30.
Right.
Yeah, but the question is how many are willing to do the work? That's the question, you know. And when you said some powerful stuff, man. Historically, we have a lot of data that we can leverage.
Yep.
To help us move.
Plenty
forward.
of it. Plenty.
Yeah. When life began to change for me,
That's good.
I would still get exposed as I began to try to improve my disposition and my family's disposition.
Right.
I could still see the vestiges of the historical behavior, not just in myself, but in other members of the family. You know, the vestiges, the stuff that's disappearing over time,
Right.
but the evidence is still there.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what happens. And when you begin to see the evidence, even if it's not you executing on it, is there something else that can be done? Because a lot of times we'll say, I'm not there anymore. I'm not even dealing with that. When you actually have the power and the leverage to do something, but we won't take the time. That's the reality. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Right.
I don't have time for anybody tripping. I ain't trying to argue with anybody. Well, are you trying to heal anybody? Are you trying to help anybody heal? Because if you just avoid all of that and never do anything, then that's where we continue to perpetuate.
Right.
And that's where the iniquity, you know, people talk about being under a curse. It's when you're not under a curse. Jesus reversed the curse. Romans chapter 5-6 tells us that, right? But the practice, the behavior is what gets passed down from generation to generation. And for those who improve, they just isolate themselves from where the sickness is. You don't even want people to see how well you're doing because you don't want them around you. You don't want them to infect you. And that's a problem that we have. So when you talk about the YMCA and the community meeting, getting face to face and all that kind of stuff, people aren't doing that because social media has changed our perspective, right? So what I say is get them on Zoom,
right,
and have the conversation. And if you can't handle it, at the most that can happen, someone will just disconnect.
Right. Yeah. Definitely.
But you got to start somewhere. And we have to take advantage of the tools that we have because bad things happen when folks come together. We can't even get together in church. I'm not saying don't come together. The Bible says, forsaking not the assembling of oneself as the manner of some is. We have got to learn to come together. But until we can get to that place, we still have to be able to communicate. We have to be able to talk. And we're doing it like in this platform right here. There are people listening to us right now that are learning, that are gleaning, so they can take this conversation to their family, to their community. And let's begin to do this. Let's do something like this. This is great.
So Jeff asked, he said, how do we get to the point where we don't react so quickly versus trying to understand, trying understanding in the moment.
Right. That's your work. That's the individual work that they have to learn how to do.
Right.
You know, that's nobody else's task but yours.
Yeah,
You know where you are when it comes to your emotional awareness
That's
and
good.
what you're capable of.
Right.
Capacity is one of these things that I think a lot of us may not understand. Capacity isn't just the ability to do something.
Right.
Sometimes capacity speaks about, even though you may have the capacity, is it a good thing for you to engage in that way? You know, so I think
The
it's still an
scripture says all
awareness.
things are lawful but not expedient. It may be within your right to do it, but that don't mean it's
Right.
going to help the situation.
Right. So
Right.
self-mastery, you know, how much do I know about myself? You know,
Right.
and I know my tendencies. And so therefore, until I master something that's going to allow me not to fall back into those tendencies, my job is to stay away and avoid.
Yeah.
You know, and stop putting myself in a space to where, you know, my emotions are controlled
Right.
by the reaction or the inaction of other people.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, that's on me again. I have a work to do. And so if I know these tendencies are in me, you know, one of the things I do, like I said, when I teach anger management, is I normalize anger. It's in all of us. All of us have the Incredible Hulk inside of us.
Right.
Push that button, you'll see it come out, you know.
Yeah.
So don't make that a bad thing. We need that. That's how we survive, you know.
Definitely.
If you know, in the right circumstance, you need that Hulk to come out, but that's not the everyday Hulk. You don't need that person to be out 24/7 in the grocery store, driving a car, smashing everything, you know, right? That's not it.
The Hulk can't change the baby's pamper.
Nope. You know, Hulk can't even open the door without breaking it, you know. And you know that person, everything they touch, they just like, you know, because the emotions are so heavy. So I think it's our job to learn ourselves first, and in that understanding, create the change.
Yeah.
That's necessary to elevate us to a higher space of emotional mastery and intelligence. You know,
Right.
part of that conversation we're gonna have, man. We're counting down the days, and I can't wait to have that conversation with
Yes.
who we put on, because this is a part of it. We're gonna have a chance to talk about when we get in different states and how to understand where we are and what it costs us, Pastor. You said last time the cost, and it costs us. It costs a lot. It's really expensive to get in these states when you're angry, because you're writing checks that you know your bank account can't. You know you can't carry, but you're writing those checks.
Right.
I dare you. You cook, man. You know you're writing checks.
Yeah.
Out there.
Like my man with Kaneem, he slammed that.
Right.
Boom.
Right. You know, you're right.
You got to make a decision.
And somebody be like, "Yep, that's my number. You called my number.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm coming to cash this check," and then you know you can't back it up.
Right.
So the point is we have to do that work.
Yeah.
And how do we do that work? Understanding awareness, and if it's not up in our capacity to manage, go get help.
Right.
Go get help. Go get help. You know.
Yeah, there's certain conversations I won't even entertain because I know what they do to me.
Right.
Mm.
You know, you just have to know yourself. That's real.
Yep.
Right.
What did Coolio say? I've been blasting and blasting and blasting so long that even my mama thinks that my mind is gone.
Wow.
The one that raised you thinks that you've lost your mind.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because it just exponentially gets worse with each generation if you don't change the behavior.
Definitely.
That's how a man can be shot over a game of dice.
So
Yeah. And somebody just wrote that comment. You gonna read that? That's a good one right there.
which one? The song Colors.
No, but he had a quote before that. The one
Hold
before that, yeah.
Let me see. Not that one.
It was from Thomas. He had one
The
before.
violence in the music.
Oh, violence is also promoted through music in a way that makes it seem a way of life, and people adopt it as a way of life.
Right.
Yeah.
That one. And he had that quote right there. He had a second quote after that one too.
And then he quoted Colors.
Yeah.
My life
So
is
that one
violence, and violence
was another
is life. You see that? Look at that. My life is violence, and
Right.
violence is life.
Yeah.
So now you have taken what was yours, and you've just made a global statement,
Right.
a universal statement.
That's a consciousness.
Yes.
Right? That's an awareness. That's how I view the world, and so
Yeah.
that's what I'm going to attract.
Absolutely.
That's what
I'm
he
gonna
let you
put
know.
out there.
I am violence.
Right. Right. You
Right.
know?
You ever heard that old adage, misery loves company?
Right. But
Yeah.
that point he made about said violence is also promoted through music in a way that it makes sense. It seems like a way of life, and people adopt it as a way of life. Just
Yeah.
kind of like
That's
you
how
brought
I
out
was,
there.
man. In my youth, in my teens, in my 20s, NWA came out But F the Police and Too Short was Freaky Tales, and
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It was like my whole mindset was like, I need to live this because this is the script that I want to follow.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I was just into it. And UGK with Diamonds and Wood, and I mean, I was in that zone. You know what I'm saying? And Master P and Ice Cream Man. I was just all in it. You know what I'm saying? I was just right there. So it's like when you saw me anywhere, you're like, oh, we know you ain't working nowhere. You know what I'm for sure you ain't got no job.
You do not have a W-2.
So yeah, I mean, but that's all I had, because everybody that I was surrounded with
that too
was in that same mindset. You know what I'm saying?
True.
It wasn't like I can go like, I'm gonna go over here and just chill with such and such because I know it's gonna be calm and peaceful. There was no such and such that was calm and peaceful. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was just wide open and wild.
So what was not seen though? What was not seen are the talking points of these artists. Go back and listen to Ice Cube when he was younger.
Yeah.
Listen to him speak very intelligently about why violence was such a predominant conversations in the songs. There's one interview with Dr. Dre as a young man, and I wish I could find this and put it out there, but Dr. Dre as a young man, you know, said on an interview that, listen, I don't have an enemy that looks like me.
Right.
You know, he said that. He's like, if you have my face, why are you my enemy? He's like, I'm not fighting that person. I'm not violent towards that person because I've come to understand, not saying that he had that understanding all the way through, that a person that looks like me is not my enemy. But those aren't the things that you hear in the songs, of course, and the songs that are being promoted and you know, and so you have to understand that there are certain messages that don't necessarily get through. The same way we had those gangster raps that I love to enjoy, we also had rappers like KRS-One.
Right.
You know, we also had rappers like Mos Def. We also had rappers, you know, Boogie Down. You know, we had other alternative that were there, but were they promoted?
Nope.
Right.
You know, were they the ones that were top charting?
Violence was the promotion because violence was on the news. You know,
that's the other piece of it.
Now that I got a musical song to go along with this news that I see every day in my community, you know, it'll relate more to those that's into the violence.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we allow these matters to come into us because yes, we can relate to them, but is that what we want to continue to relate to?
Right.
You know, yeah, that's what my context is now. But sometimes, you know, I think I learned this years ago. You got to dress for the part that you desire.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I may be in a violent state, but do I want to stay here? So if I continue to listen and feed myself this, then what am I saying about the future I desire for myself?
Right.
That's why I used to wear a tie to work every day.
All right, hey, you hit it right on the head, Matt. That's why I took my gold teeth out and I started trying to throw them Ebonics in the trash can and stop using dog and fool and you know what I'm saying? Like with every other word I was cursing. So like I done got a whole lot better, man. If y'all knew me about 10 years ago, it'd have been a whole different Kadeem that you listen to. And me using my first name was a change. You know what I'm saying? Because I got plenty of nicknames that everybody knows about. I'm not gonna tell y'all, but I got plenty of nicknames that I used to go by. You know what I'm saying? So me just using my first name is something.
Right.
Man, listen, I heard that song AD sent to me.
Oh.
The two songs, I heard both them songs. I was like, who am I listening to, man? Wow. Pastor, if you missed the context, but I got a chance to hear some of Kadeem's old tracks.
Yeah.
Oh man, pressure. That's all I'm gonna say.
Back in the day, man. Back in the day, bro.
Back in the day, yeah. Back in the day. So definitely got that context, you know. But I think we all have the capacity for change, you know?
Right.
And when we don't see that is when we sell ourselves short. Each one of us have the capacity to change. And Pastor, you're right. There's a lot of us that are saying these things, but make no moves towards creating that difference in the community because we don't go.
Yeah.
You know, we get our first class ticket out. That's it. Never look back. you know.
Right.
And I think we have to find a way.
And then for those that make the mistake of coming back, you come back and act like you acted when you left instead of showing the change.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Still trying to relate.
Yeah.
Right. All right. So listen, we appreciate you guys for being here, rocking with us on this edition of the Brothers of Legacy Mental Health Wednesday with our own Matt Genius. Make sure you guys look up Matt Genius on Apple Music or any music app you have available. I was gonna say Spotify.
I just uploaded a new song on SoundCloud, and that's the only place it will be found on SoundCloud. The reason why is that I couldn't get I can't get the sample cleared for now. So, so until I get the sample cleared, it's on SoundCloud for free.
All right, follow Matt Genius on SoundCloud. Okay.
SoundCloud, you know where it's at, man. And that's a great conversational song too, because it's about traumatic experiences of the past and how they reveal themselves in our present day as well. It's called Triple Dade. As a day count, Triple Dade.
Awesome. Yeah. So again, we appreciate Matt being here on Mental Health Wednesdays. We're going to continue this conversation tomorrow with Thomas Cotton. I want to say Dr. Thomas Cotton. He's working on that doctoral. And he'll be talking about breaking as far as the cycles, what happens in the past, getting more into that, because he's had those cycles in his life with his parents and the grandparents, so he can really speak into those cycles of that anger. So we look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow, same time, same place. Again, I appreciate Matt for being here. Make sure you follow him, Matt Genius, on all social media. He is a licensed therapist. Yes, he's a rapper, but he is a licensed therapist. So you guys make sure you check him out. He has great workshops. So if you're looking to connect with him. If you can't find him, find me. I'll definitely hook you up. His workshops are off the hook, and after all of the conversation we've had, I think he has a workshop on any and everything that you can think of. So you have a conference coming up, and you need a topic covered with the licensed therapist. This brother has it in the bag. All right. So again, we appreciate you guys for being here, rocking with us. Another edition of the Brothers of Legacy. As always, continue to stay safe, make good choices, vote. It's the voting season. If you're in Georgia and or North Carolina, early voting has started. So make sure you do that. Make sure you stay connected with us. Text LWN to 84576. Thank you, Mama Corey. Appreciate that. Stay connected to us. Text LWN to 84576. And if you're feeling led to be a bigger blessing to us, make sure you are go to Cash App. Go to Cash App, $BOL 2019, $BOL 2019, and be a blessing to the Brothers of Legacy as we grow and reach out. Again, this Friday we'll be revealing the winners, I guess, of the holiday dinner. We got 5 folks. I don't want to say contestants. Forgive me, y'all. Sound like a game show. 5 people we will be sending holiday dinners to. All right, so stay tuned. Again, we appreciate you guys for rocking with us. Another edition of Brothers Legacy. Stay safe. 988. Mental health crisis. You or someone you love. And if all hearts and minds are clear, wonderful. We'll see you guys in the AO. Know that we love you better. Peace out.